In this video, we're going to take a look at how to code Twitter tweets that I captured using a website called tracker.com. And we're going to code those tweets using Microsoft Excel. And for those tweets that are not in English, we're going to use Google Translate. Okay, so I'm going to go to the file I downloaded with the results of my Twitter tweet search. And so here's what I've got. And what we have is the title of the tweet, the URL, which will be Twitter. That's going to be the same across all of them. The actual tweet, which is called the description, the date of the tweet, and the media type will also be the same for all of them, the sentiment and the influence. Alright, so I like to bold the variable names. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. And then I like to make the actual tweet bigger so I can see what it is. And I'm going to be coding these different tweets for different themes. So one thing you'll notice is, particularly if you don't do a search using a hashtag, that you'll find a lot of irrelevant tweets. So I like to create a variable that's simply called irrelevant. Alright, and then I'm going to shrink this down a little bit so I can see the tweets. And okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for those tweets that don't really have anything to do with fracking, which is the method for extracting natural gas that is quite controversial, and this is why I'm studying it. But you can see people like to use the word frack in a range of ways. Here you go, Lester, just frack it up, please. What does that mean? I don't know. So I'm going to call that one irrelevant. So when something's irrelevant, I'm going to give it a 1. All right. And so I can go through. I'll go through the first 100 of these tweets just to show you the process. Oh, frack that. Okay, that doesn't really mean anything. Okay, now here's a good example of where sometimes fracks are in Spanish. The United States is not a monolingual country. It's in fact the 4th largest Spanish-speaking country in the world. So I like to use something called Google Translate, which is simply translate.google.com. And you can paste in something. And over here, see, it says Spanish, and over there it says English. And I could sleep until 3 a.m., so it doesn't really say much, but that just shows you how to do this. Okay, sometimes it wants to paste a formula in or something like that. So I just hit enter. I'm not sure what it's trying to do, honestly. Okay, got out of that. And I'll undo what I did. Okay. So that one was picked up simply because the person is Patty Frick-Frack, whatever that means. So again, an irrelevant one. So what I'm really looking for, of course, are those that are related to the actual concept. So let's see, no new technology comes without assorted risks. Okay, so now they're talking about the risk of fracking. So what I do is that when I want to make a new theme is I create a new column. So let's maybe call this one health. Okay, so this is going to be about the health risks, the health impacts of fracking. Okay, so I'll again bring that down. And every time I see a tweet that has to do with health, I'm going to code that as a 1 also. So this one's talking about going to the hospital. That could be related. But let's see, there we go. Public health is one of the hashtags, so we'll code that one as health. All right, 1 for that. Let me see here. If I'll just go through a few more and see if I can find one. That one's irrelevant. Okay. Food and farms. Well, that's probably another theme. Maybe that's implicitly related to health, and maybe we want to have a separate code for explicit or implicit. Okay, let's see. Or we could just start a new theme altogether. Maybe we'll call one food and farms, something like that. You know, maybe this is a theme that has a lot, maybe it's not. We can always delete themes, add new ones. We have a lot of freedom there. Okay. Okay, so this is poking fun at fracking fluid. There's this kind of running joke about Fracco Cola, which is like an imagined drink made of fracking fluids, which of course is a chemical cocktail, not really meant to be consumed. So that one is probably a statement about health, I would say. It's kind of implicit, but you know, health is certainly on people's mind when they're suggesting you drink Fracco Cola, making fun of the dangerous chemicals in fracking fluid. There's the food and farm one. Alright, let's see. Fracking debate. Elise Jones. Switch drink of choice. Craft brew to frack fluid. So again, that's the one about health. Alright, this one. Another one about the fracking cola. I think it's kind of a new joke. These jokes tend to go viral on Twitter. People read each other's tweets. Okay, so this one is just another irrelevant one. Alright, sometimes I like kinda totes. Twitter's texting plans about my boring is for. That's irrelevant. How they let Jose even get to first base. Okay, so there's another irrelevant one. Who says coding's boring? This can be quite entertaining. More evidence that fracking causes earthquakes. So there we've got a new theme coming up. So let's maybe call this one earthquakes. Alright. Kind of have to move the view around sometimes. In fact, I'm just going to lose the URL because that's always going to be the same to give me a little more room here. Now I can see all my codes. Alright, so I'm working with about 3 now. Okay, so there's the earthquake one. Boom. Okay, that one is irrelevant. The big frack bubble. Now, the other thing about Twitter tweets is they often have links to other websites, and to properly code the tweet, it's probably a good idea to actually examine the website. So let's see what this one is about. So here we have a whole article. So this is the next bubble, kind of talking about probably an economic bubble. Let's see. Coal and nuclear power industries have seen better days. The main culprit energy industry, analysts say, is the low cost of domestic natural gas. Instead of paying the high cost to upgrade coal-fired plants, they're making the switch to natural gas. Okay, well, see, this is not quite as simple as coding a single sentence, as you can tell, but you can kind of read into it and figure out what the main themes are and why they posted this link. But I'm going to say this is mainly about the economics. Alright, so I'm going to start a new theme here. The economics of fracking. Alright, that's mainly what the tweet is about. Okay, let's see, what have we got next? There's that same one. Now, one of the questions that comes up when you're coding these is what to do with redundant or retweeted posts, and I just code them independently. You might even come up with another code called repeated or something like that, and then you could examine the number of times a particular tweet is retweeted, and that's an interesting piece of information. And that's all we're really trying to do, is gather information about tweets. So any kind of information you can code, and you can code everything 0, 1 for the presence or absence of that term. And that's really what we're trying to do here. So you can see, I'm not going to go any further. You get the basic idea. This is how you do content analysis using Microsoft Excel. And when you're done, you can always create a formula to sum up the number of times particular concepts appear, or you can save the file, open it up in SPSS, then you can do more sophisticated types of charts and analysis.